Today's video is sponsored by Insta360. When you've got an action camera capable of 4K 120p or 8K up to 30p, you might say, but I don't even need 8K. Well, Insta360 is delivering a lot in terms of specs with the Ace Pro 2, but they are doing so in a way which makes itself very useful even to the casual user who might not need features like 8K. What I'm holding here looks a bit more elaborate than your typical action camera. That's because this is the Ace Pro 2 in the Explorer grip kit. It comes with a cage made by Tilter, but calling this just a cage isn't really doing it justice because this kit really does change up your entire experience with this camera, and it moves this beyond use cases you would typically box an action camera into. Aside obviously from the Ace Pro 2 camera itself, the Explorer grip kit has three main components to it. The utility frame goes around the already rugged camera for quite extreme protection. This also acts as the hub for attaching everything else onto. The grip goes on with a 1/4 inch attachment, and before you can even start feeling anxious about needing a tool to tighten this, secured within the grip itself is the exact tool you need. It's magnetic and absolutely one of my favorite, most thoughtful design touches on this kit. The grip feels very nice to hold even with large hands. It's actually not that big if you compare it to a mirrorless camera's grip, but it is sculpted in just the right places to give you excellent support. The comfort of this grip is something I cannot praise enough. It genuinely beats the grip on many of the bigger cameras, and you'll notice with the added width of the grip, the shutter button has been pulled quite a distance away from my index finger now. That's when component number 3 comes in. The shutter button. I know this doesn't exactly look like one, but this is probably my favorite shutter button to date. It's super fascinating. This goes onto the cold shoe, and don't you worry, you do get refunded one cold shoe because there's another one on here. It's one continuous piece of metal which flexes when you push down on it, pressing that shutter button. So now you can press down anywhere along this entire top plate to trigger a shot. It works wonderfully and feels amazing because this is all metal. So when you hold this, what you're touching in terms of material is a mix of soft touch anti-slip surfaces as well as solid metal. And that makes this setup feel incredibly premium and luxurious. Not something I expected an action camera to be capable of. As a bit of a bonus, it also does come with a fully metal cold shoe cap, as well as a really substantial wrist strap with a self-tightening design. Now, all this exciting hardware is by no means supposed to take attention away from the actual images you're going to create on this. This isn't just an accessory because we are talking about some insane imaging capabilities. There's an 8K sensor in here, just shy of 1 inch, dual processors for some real-time heavy lifting, not to mention that Leica Summerit lens, which looks incredible even when pixel peeping these 50 megapixel stills. The lens is a 13mm full-frame equivalent, field of view's 157 degrees, so it's really quite wide. What is lovely if you do vlog with this is you don't have to hold it very far from your face at all, and it's so wide that you're not filling the frame with your face even at arm's length. And you're still including a lot of the location you're in. Though one thing about action cameras that we've sort of been conditioned to be mentally prepared for is exactly this ultra-wide field of view. It's usually accompanied with the feeling of being stuck with one ultra-wide lens when we choose to bring an action camera with us. It is incredibly inclusive in terms of scene, but you will wish for the ability to focus in on a particular area of that scene sometimes. That's not really a problem on the Ace Pro 2. You see, one of the perks of having an 8K sensor is being able to crop from this frame into this frame while still maintaining full UHD 4K resolution. I actually shot this while waiting to board my plane at the gate. It was a rather majestic A350 and I was so intrigued by it, I actually ended up recording the entire process of it pulling up to the gate plus some of the ground operations. I took this completely handheld, so the frame does move around a bit, but thanks to the wide field of view and having 8K, there was plenty of room to apply heavy stabilization in post. I can't believe it looks like this was shot on a tripod after stabilizing, and I can still afford a pixel-to-pixel crop if I wanted to focus on something particular. Otherwise, you do get a stunningly detailed image if you're simply oversampling from 8K. That being said, you might not always be shooting in 8K, but even then, you still get to reap the benefits of that 8K sensor, because there's a feature in here called Clarity Zoom, and it's essentially a punch-in for a tighter frame without any loss of resolution. I took the Ace Pro 2 out onto the streets of Kuala Lumpur for some street photography. The images you're able to get out of this, they are truly impressive. The fact that you can capture RAW files from this 50 megapixel sensor, it gives you so much room to work with in post. You're able to really dial in a look and make that image your own while keeping all that image quality. But if you're looking for great results straight out of camera, the Ace Pro 2 has plenty going for that as well. These shots you're seeing were shot using the built-in Leica profiles on the Ace Pro 2. The Leica natural profile is perfect for a very authentic yet contrasty look for shots like these, and when I want my colors to really pop, I use Leica Vivid. Many of the Ace Pro 2's most powerful features are available all the way up to 4K 60p. That's incredibly impressive, and it's something I appreciate a lot because many of these features I'm talking about are very processor intensive, such as Pure Video, which leverages its dual AI processors to give you nice clean shots in low light right out of the box. There is Active HDR as well, which looks completely seamless in boosting your dynamic range, also works up to 4K 60. That's a remarkable amount of computing power packed within this little cube to process all that high resolution, high frame rate footage in real time. With all this capability, Insta360 does put all this power into the user's hands. It's completely up to you how you want to harness it. Pure Video, for example, is great for low light capture, and the footage is ready to go. If you prefer more flexibility in post, my favorite recipe to shoot with is actually free frame video in iLog. When you shoot in free frame video mode, you're essentially capturing open gate with this 4:3 sensor, and you've got extreme adaptability when it comes to aspect ratios in post. It's the best mode to shoot in if you need both horizontal and vertical deliverables. It's my favorite mode, not just because of aspect ratios, but in the Insta360 mobile or desktop app, you can change your FOVs in post, and you also have control over flow state stabilization in post, because for some mounted POV shots, you might actually want to reduce the amount of stabilization so the subject stays relative to the camera. If you're curious what this little cap that ships with the camera is, this is the mic cap, which goes, well, over the microphone for better ingress resistance if you do submerge the camera underwater, because this thing is waterproof on its own up to 12 meters without a dive case. There is also a voice enhancement setting on the Ace Pro 2, which I tested out in an environment this noisy. I don't actually have a wireless microphone with me at the moment, and I'm outdoors with a fountain behind me, pretty noisy environment, lots of people, very public park. Not the best situation to be in if you want to pick up clear dialogue, but here's the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 in voice enhancement mode, picking up my voice. Doing a pretty good job at that. Vlogging with the Ace Pro 2 is effortless. I mentioned the field of view being a great help, but also the 2.5-inch touchscreen, which you can flip around. I love that quick technical readout you get on the front sub monitor as well. I was a bit concerned at first if the Explorer grip kit might get in the way when it comes to ease of use. This being a small camera, having a cage around it might block access to some areas, but as it turns out, this is really quite smart in terms of design. The hatch to access the microSD and USB-C port is completely unobstructed, and if you need to access the battery hatch, there is a quick release to swing the cage's right edge out of the way, and this works even if you have the grip attached. Just make sure you've removed the shutter button. If you don't need the grip itself, removing it means freeing up an additional 1/4-inch mounting point on the Ace Pro 2's right edge, and that's complemented with an extra quick release spot for the action mount as well. If you decide to lose the cage entirely, it's completely toolless. Just press a release for the left edge and slide the camera out. This right here really is the perfect mix of hardware design and sheer capability that really makes the Ace Pro 2 more than just your average action camera. I will also be making another video on this where I share some of my pro tips for getting the most out of the Ace Pro 2, as well as talk a bit about how sometimes it might make a bit more sense to pack this on a trip over a mirrorless camera. If you're interested to check out the Insta360 Ace Pro 2, be sure to use my link in description, and look out for Insta360's Black Friday sale, which is now live from November 13th to December 7th. The Ace Pro 2 is 16% off, and the Explorer bundle is 17% off. Check the link below to grab these deals and get an additional gift, and I'll be seeing you around.